salaries for an airline pilot?
Salaries of an airline pilot is the most important and the most exciting part of being a pilot, and one of the most, I would say, and that is something which aspiring pilot.
Hello everyone, welcome back to India's number one pilot podcast. Today we have a special guest with us for a special duration. His name is Shivansh and he's already trying to speak in the mic, but he doesn't know what to speak. Hello Shivansh.
Yes, my tiny little guest, tiny little bub on board Pilot Podcast.
Yes,
This is your second time introduction.
yes,
to
so he's the
Pilot
youngest
Podcast.
aspiring pilot in India right now.
Earlier, you were 3 months old when you were introduced to this podcast as a tiny little guest. Now you're 7 months old. Yes. Oh, yes. You said yes. Yes. Yeah. Do you love to be here? Yes, we would love to have you here
Yes,
as
so
you grow up.
So as soon as he came into the studio, he is like enjoying himself. Otherwise,
Yes.
if he goes out of the studio, he's like, no, I don't want to be here. I want to be in the studio, right? Right?
Yes.
See.
Yes. He has so many airplanes around on his t-shirt. Yes.
How cute. Let's go. It's got some strength as well now.
Shivansh, do you know how to become a pilot? You must have heard Mama saying how to become a pilot. Mama explaining when you were in Mama's tummy. Yes, and Chintan Mama also explaining when you were in Mama's tummy. Do you want to explain? Yes. You are excited.
He is excited for the podcast.
Yes, you are excited. You're excited to be here. Yes, yes.
Yes, so that was a glimpse of our special guest for a special duration. And today's podcast is going to be very interesting for those of you who are yet to decide whether they can go ahead with pilot training, what are the costs involved, and how to recover that cost, or what is the return on investment you make on the pilot training.
Absolutely. So it's always a very overwhelming and very you get really anxious thinking about this idea when you think of becoming a pilot. Oh my God, the cost involved is so much, and then when will I be able to recover this cost? What will happen? When will I get a job? Just after 12th, when I thought of becoming a pilot, that time like there were plenty of jobs, and that time everyone who was becoming a pilot was getting a job, and I was also thinking the same thing would happen to us. And when I completed CPL, and back in that point of time, all of a sudden recession hit and there were absolutely no jobs. So that was the point. It hit many of us from the batch that, okay, what next? When will we land up in a job? So it was kind of a moment where, you really feel that whatever amount you spent, when will you be getting it back? Or when will you start getting the salary? When will you start getting that first airline job?
Yes.
When you land up into that job? So that was very, uncertain moment.
As let's say, as you have invested so much amount into pilot training, so the moment you complete your pilot training, you expect something out of it, right?
Correct,
The return
correct,
on
correct.
whatever you have put in.
Right.
But before getting there, tell me, what was your parents' reaction when first you asked them that you want to go for pilot training and this is the amount that you need for it?
Yes. So when I was done with my 12th, at that point of time, everybody was thinking I will go for a medical profession.
Okay.
Because there were many, of our relatives who are in medicine profession, and I had prepared also. But then I was not wholeheartedly going to medical profession, and that was not my dream to be. So when I got to know that pilot profession has exist and there is a good opportunity just after 12th, so that's when this profession, it just hit me, and I was like, I will put my heart and soul into it, and I will make sure that will do my level best to get through the career opportunity and to do this as a pilot career. So when I completed 12th, that point of time, we were thinking of how much would it cost, and that time, of course, the amounts were pretty less compared to at this point. Right now, those amounts will not sound pretty big, because back in 2006, the amount required for pilot training was around 15 to 20 lakhs maximum.
Wow.
Yeah. But back in time, that was the amount, which is as good as about a CR, right?
Yes.
Considering inflation. So, yes, 15 to 20 lakhs, that was the amount. But then when parents knew and I explained them, okay, the salaries are so and so, the salaries of salary of a first officer is about 2 to 3 lakhs, of a captain is about 6 to 7 lakhs per month, then they were like, okay, but that is after getting into an airline, right? And that was one of the questions. So considering nobody from the family into aviation, it was a bit of a uncertainty, and
Yes.
you always question yourself, when will you land up into a job? So I said, I will put my 100% into this profession, and I'll put my heart and soul into it, and I will do my level best to get through an airline job. So that's how they were. And plus my dad, he was supporting me into this because he himself wanted to become a pilot.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so that was the reason why he did support me when I spoke about this profession to him.
Yes. And I think I spoke with Nilay as well. He's
Yeah.
planning to get some glider pilot license and stuff now also.
yes,
So he's
yes.
enthusiastic now as well
Yes, yes.
to get
yes.
his license and stuff.
Absolutely.
So I think that
Absolutely.
runs into the family now.
Absolutely. So how did you end up making a decision to become a pilot?
So initially when I completed my 12th, I wanted to get into aviation. But then at that time we were joint family and my parents had just moved in around 10-15 years ago to Mumbai. So it was like if they sponsor me for my training, then the other siblings won't have any money left for the education. So that's when I chose to go for engineering. And after engineering, when I just told them that I want to become a pilot, and now I have done with my engineering and there is something which I really want to do. So being a businessman, he just told me, okay, then what is the guarantee to get a job? So at that time, the Cadet pilot program was there. So I thought if I go in this, I get a job assurance. So I just told him that this is the program, and if I get through this program, I have a job assurance. So he agreed to it on one condition, that you have to clear the interview. So then it was on me. So for those preparation days, I put in my heart and soul, and each and every day I used to study for 12-16 hours because
Correct.
I had to clear that interview. Without that, there was no sponsor coming from my family.
Correct.
And that's how I cleared the cadet pilot program. And then once I got the letter of intent from the airline, then my father agreed to sponsor the training.
Correct, correct.
And I had to brief him about the whole cost and stuff. And
Right.
after getting into the airline as well, like getting into the cadet pilot program as well, he wasn't convinced. So I had to explain him everything because he was sponsoring. It's a huge amount, right?
Correct,
And
correct,
at that time, cadet pilot program was new. Now everyone knows about cadet pilot program. But back then, very few people knew about that
Correct.
program.
So how do you explain this job assurance as a cadet pilot?
So now there's a misconception of job assurance that once a student is into the cadet pilot program, they'll get a guaranteed job. But it doesn't work like that. There are certain terms and conditions which you have to meet. Let's say, for example, you have to complete the training as per airline standards. Once you complete your training, depending upon the vacancy in the airline, you'll be assured a job. That's what it says in short.
Correct.
Apart from this, there are certain other conditions like company medicals are there. You have to be DGCA. You need to possess class 1 DGCA medical assessment.
Correct.
And apart from that, your training and everything should be done within a stipulated time span.
Correct, correct.
So if a student meets all of those things, then a job is assured
Correct.
to the student.
So training as in the sense that it is applicable to ground training also, it is applicable to flight training also,
Yes.
it is applicable to all the check rides,
Airline
right?
training as
like
well.
airline training as well, like PPL check ride, instrument check ride, commercial check ride, airline training, type rating, CA 40 day check, night
Yes.
check, higher check, right? So it is applicable to all the check rides, and it needs to be done in a stipulated period of time.
Yes,
right?
definitely.
One cannot take multiple failures and then
Yes, because each and every
Yeah.
step which we take, let's say
Yeah.
for me, if I'm training at a flight school
Correct.
and there are state checks, we
Correct,
call
correct,
it in
correct,
US.
correct.
So let's say in a PPL, I had around 3 to 4 state check and then one is end of course, which is the
Correct,
final
correct,
test.
correct.
So each and every report will be sent to the airline from the flight
Correct,
school.
correct.
So if a student is taking multiple attempts, like let's say more than 2 attempts to clear certain stage, then the airline may ask the flight school the reason for it.
Correct.
So if the reason is lack of preparation or something other which is like not putting enough efforts on taking multiple
Attributable
leaves
to
or something,
student, huh?
yes. So if that is the case, then airline may ask the cadet, okay, why are you doing this and so. But if let's say if a student need more hour to learn some maneuvers, that's completely fine.
Correct. It shouldn't happen repeatedly. That,
Yes, and it should not happen like, okay, if let's say if 40 to 50 hours is allotted for PPL, a student is doing PPL in 150 hours. It
Right,
should not be
right,
like that.
right.
There should be some margin. It's
Correct,
not like
correct.
we have unlimited hours
Correct.
to do the
correct,
training.
correct, absolutely.
So that's about
Correct.
like the
Right,
reports
right,
which
right.
the
Correct.
flight school sent to the airlines.
So now talking about the cost of pilot training, like cost of pilot training is immense, right?
Yes.
So this cost is again subdivided in various components, like
Yes, yes.
various stages. So as you have done the current training for the airline, as well as before that you have done your CPL training. So as you are aware of the current costs, how would you segregate the costs in various steps?
So for cost, there are 2 parts. One is conventional, one is cadet. If we speak about conventional pathway from India, initially a person starts with DGCA medicals, which will be around 15 to 30,000 rupees for class 1 and class 2, followed by a DGCA ground school for 5 subjects, which will be around 2.5 to 3 lakh rupees. And then for flight training, the cost right now it's around 45 to 50 lakh rupees from a good flight school in India, followed by type rating, which is around 10 to 15 lakh rupees, and around 10 to 15 lakh rupees for airline training. So the total cost which comes around is 65 to 70 lakh rupees for India. And there are,
Conventional.
yes, conventional
Correct.
pathway from India. And this cost is variable as well, depending upon a student's lifestyle, how much efforts the student is making into the training. Because we have 200 hours for the flight training. If a student requires more than that hours, to complete certain skill set or to achieve certain skill set that would be additionally borne by the student.
Correct.
Now, if we speak about conventional pathway from abroad, the DGCA medical fees, which is around 15 to 30,000, remain same. After that, for DGCA ground school, as we are doing 3 subjects now, navigation, metrology, and regulation, we need around 1.52 lakh rupees for the DGCA ground school. And then flight training depends upon the country which you go. Generally,
Correct.
it's around 60 to 65 lakh rupees inclusive accommodation.
Correct.
And after that, once the student comes back to India, around 3 to 5 lakh rupees for the conversion. And then to prepare for RTR exam, around 35 to 40,000 rupees.
Correct.
For type rating, 10 to 15 lakh rupees. For airline training, 10 to
Correct.
15 lakh rupees. So
Correct.
overall, it's around 85 to 90 lakh rupees. And the cost is variable as per the foreign currency exchange rate as well.
Of course.
So because of, let's say, global events, sometimes there's a spike in the foreign currency. So
Exchange.
foreign currency exchange. So a buffer of 3 to 5 lakh rupees to keep is always beneficial.
Absolutely.
Okay. So this is about total around 85 to 90 lakh rupees
Correct.
for cost of pilot training abroad.
Correct.
Now this is covered for the conventional pilot program.
Right.
Now the same thing, the same inclusions are there in the cadet pilot program, both for India and abroad. In India, the total cost is around 95 to 1 crore rupees. If you do it from abroad, around 1.1 to 1.4 crore rupees abroad.
Correct.
Both are good. I mean, depending upon the budget a students want to spend, both are good options, India and abroad.
Correct.
A student must select a flight school depending on the budget and discuss it with their parents.
Correct. Absolutely. So, considering these cadet pilot programs, so which many students ask me, okay, which cadet pilot program they should choose, or so what are the criteria you think they should decide which cadet pilot program they should go for?
Yes, to see over these years, like since I started the YouTube channel and we started working together and stuff, we have been getting queries from students to go for either cadet or conventional. And through my experience of answering students, what I've realized is the main deciding factor to go for either cadet or conventional is the budget.
Correct.
Okay. If, let's say, if a parent is able to spend around 50 to 60 lakh rupees, the student must go for conventional
Indian.
program in India. Okay. That student, if he or she stretches for the cadet pilot program abroad, 60 to 70 lakh rupees of loan has to be taken, on a collateral, because pilot training is a vocational course, and for that only collateral loans are available.
Correct.
Okay. So that's how I advise student to first discuss with their parents
Correct.
how much they are willing to spend on the training.
Correct.
Depending on that, you select where you want to do your training and which program you want to go.
Correct.
And there's also a misconception of students that, okay, once they join the cadet pilot program on full loan, let's say 1.2 CR of loan, the amount of interest will be a lot. So in that, they have to also see that everything goes hand to hand.
So here, since the amount involved in this pilot training is huge, and of course here we are not financial advisors, but these are the factors which we would consider if we have to do our pilot training, right? So this is when you consider so much huge financial amount to bear for pilot training. So how would you plan the finances?
See, ideal way to plan is, let's say, if we take the highest one, okay,
Correct.
and this applies to each and every program. So let's say International Pathway Cadet Pilot Program, training cost 1.2 CR. So in that, a good amount to self-fund and to take a loan, okay, would be 60 lakh rupees. So 60 lakh rupees you can self-fund by yourself, and 60 lakh rupees you can take a loan from the bank. So this goes really well in long term. You will be able to repay the loan in around 7 to 10 years. and also enjoy the life as well. It's not that 100% of your salary will go into loan repayment.
Correct.
So this is what I generally advise students. Now let's say if a student has spending capacity of 30 lakh rupees, so take 30 lakh rupees of loan and go for the conventional pilot program from India. So now what will happen is there is no surety of job once the pilot has completed his CPL. Okay. So there comes into picture how much hard work a student has put in, because when they go in the interview, that shows up. We speak with students, we know which student has worked hard, which student is just getting there. Okay. So how much effort a student puts in, how much the pilot has worked on its personality, so that will show up in the interview results. So whenever a student is taking a loan, they are taking loan on a property which their parents have hard earned.
Correct.
Okay, so it's the duty of every student or pilot to work hard, get that seat in the airline. Right now, if you see, there are airline vacancies let's say every 6 months there are 1 or 2 vacancies which comes out. So now you are getting the opportunity to appear for the interview
correct.
like you did. So let's say once you completed your CPL in 2008, right?
Yes.
Then how did you made the use of the first opportunity you got into the airline?
So in 2008, after getting CPL, there was Jet Airways vacancy out immediately after my CPL. So I got CPL in July last week, and I got an opportunity to go for that interview in next month itself, in the month of August. So I was super happy that I'm lucky to get this opportunity. But unfortunately, by September, when the interview date was announced, around that time, after the interview was conducted, then the recession was hit really badly. Global recession was hit, which hit a lot of industries worldwide, and of course that hit Indian aviation as well. And because of that, all that vacancy was scrapped. The entire vacancy was scrapped, and none of us were selected. So since then, for next 3 years, it was downtime in Indian aviation and of course globally. So in 2011, we were thinking, okay, things will get better, but Kingfisher shut down, and then all those pilots were absorbed in other airlines in India. So their requirement was fulfilled, and my hope of getting in aviation as an airline pilot was pushed for further. So, but still, never lost the hope that I would ever get a chance or whatever, but I always kept trying. The next opportunity that I got was in 2014. So there was a long gap in the between, almost 6 years, but still kept trying. That was the only way. So when I applied, I was like, I have to consider this as my last chance to go for any airline exam, and I'll put my level best. So that was the way I worked hard in, day and night. I put, time and efforts into studying and knowing everything about airline assessment process, as well as studying, all the books that I knew of. And yes, it did work.
Yes, definitely. So this was the thing I was talking about. The first opportunity you get,
because I got an opportunity after a really long time.
Yes.
So it had to be, taken as my last chance to go for the airline exam. Although that was not the last chance, but I wanted to take it as my last chance. And I got through an airline in the same vacancy. So since then, have been flying. So
yes, so this is what I was referring to, that the first opportunity you get. So if you are on a loan, or if you have borrowed money from your parents, whatever it is.
Correct.
So the first opportunity you get, convert into a job, and then you start with the salaries of an airline pilot.
I never wanted to lose the touch of aviation and being a pilot, because I'm obsessed with this profession. So I just love to read more and give that knowledge to aspirants, and that's where CNTAA started in 2009, 8, and towards the end. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
nice. And it's still training
Yes.
aspiring pilots
Yes.
for DGCA exams.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, so if a student has taken loan, then this is the way. The first opportunity you get, you convert it into
Correct.
an airline job.
Correct.
And the buffer period after, let's say, after a person has got a CPL is around 1 to 2 years. So make sure you
On an
walk in.
average.
Yes, on an average.
Sometimes it
Yes.
could be even 3 months, or
Yes.
sometimes it could be longer, like it happened back in 2008 till 14.
And sometimes it's the waiting period is 0. Like few of our students who just applied for CPL, they're also allowed to appear for the airline interview. But once they get selected, they have to give their CPL. So we know students who have just applied for CPL, so waiting period is 0 months. Even before getting their CPL, they were in the process, and by the time the interview and everything was done, they got selected, and they also got the CPL, and they were into the airline.
Absolutely.
So timing plays a good role here.
Important role, yes.
Very important role, I would say. And plus the preparedness of a student. So if that
Absolutely.
student was not prepared, then he would miss that opportunity.
Absolutely,
But he
absolutely.
was prepared, he put in his hard work, and he is in the airline now.
Absolutely.
So that was I was referring, and now he's earning a salary of an airline pilot.
Absolutely.
So,
Yes.
Yeah, as you have been working in this field, so can you tell, like, from start to end, okay, what are the salaries for an airline pilot?
Salaries of an airline pilot is the most important and the most exciting part of being a pilot, and one of the most, I would say, and that is something which aspiring pilots also look forward to, that okay, my god, this is the paycheck that we would be getting. And the moment pilot signs the contract with an airline, and that is the day your payroll starts. So at that point, if in case you are type rated, then also your entire airline training starts. So airline training includes your ground training and your simulator training, as well as your actual flight training, so line training, that is. So during this training phase, the salary is of a junior first officer. Of course, depending on airline to airline and the stages of your training, it will vary slightly. But I would say, on an average, it's about ₹1,00,000, and that is duration of this training. It takes approximately 6 months, and it can vary a bit. But for these 6 months, a junior first officer would earn about ₹1,00,000. Once that first officer is released to fly, after all of these training, after getting released as a first officer, then he gets paid about 2.5 to 2.8 lakhs, and that is for about couple of years, 2 to 3 years. After flying for about 2,000 hours, between 1,500 to 2,000 hours, whenever that first officer completes the requirement of airline pilot license,
Airline transport.
whenever that first officer completes the requirement of airline transport pilot license, that is ATPL, and clears the ATPL papers and viva, that is when that pilot can apply for ATPL. And once the ATPL is issued, then that first officer is promoted or upgraded to a senior first officer. That's when the salary upgrade takes place. And once again, it switches between 3.8 to 4.5 lakhs. So senior first officer, once on completion of certain requirement, depending on the airline to airline, this requirement will vary, then can apply for a command. So when the application takes place. Thereafter, the entire screening process would take place for a captain. That is right from written exam, right, then interview, then simulator training, then again line training. Line training will include the supervised line flying, all of it. When all these processes happen, route checks happen. After that, the senior first officer gets upgraded to a captain. There is a huge increment in salary, and this goes up to 7 lakhs to 8 lakhs, depending on various factors, of course, depending on how many hours you fly, depending on how many days you're available for flying. So that is per month salary, and of course, taxes will be applicable on that. So that's the salary of a captain. Of course, it doesn't settle there. If in case that pilot wishes to go on a wide body, let's say you want to fly, you go to other country or Middle East or whatever, and then you fly wide body airplane, there the salary will be even more. It will be around 12 to 15 lakh rupees, and that too tax free. And
Yes.
if in case that pilot continues to stay here and become a line training pilot, or becomes TRI, then there is another upgrade of salary right from 8 lakh onwards. So that is the salary increment, and that is the stages of pilot career in airline.
So once you become a captain, the increment in salary is gradual, but still making 7-8 lakhs a month is one of the best feeling, I would say.
Yes.
Because once you get that money, okay, and then you look back and see your journey, okay, from where you started and from where you are at this point.
Correct.
There's a lot of struggles, there are a lot of challenges which we have overcome until we reach that point.
Correct.
And then
Correct.
we feel happy about it. And I don't know how to explain. Like, you would be the
Yes,
right person
absolutely.
to explain that.
Absolutely.
Feeling.
Absolutely. So from junior first officer till captain is a steep curve
Yes,
of
definitely.
the graph of your salary and career is really steep, and afterwards it is, and even learning curve is quite steep till
Yes.
you become a captain, and afterwards it is slightly gradual. And afterwards it is your choice whether you do want to take that upgrade or you do not want to take that upgrade. Majority of pilots will be there as a captain, or if they are really aspiring to go to other foreign airlines, then they do apply, but otherwise they do settle at there. Yeah.
Yes, how would you describe that feeling when you get salary as a captain into your account?
Yes, it is. It is over the top of the cloud or top of the mountain feeling when you do get that salary. So first of all, yeah, I did get that. Now,
Not able to
I
count.
did. Yes, it was the first time when second month after my command release, I got a 7-digit paycheck, and
Oh.
it was amazing feeling, and yes, you really feel good on the top of the cloud.
Yes, for pilot as a
Cloud
career,
nine.
yes, it's a great feeling. I know, like whenever I get an upgrade, so from, let's say, junior first officer to first officer, the feeling was great.
Yes.
I just I just look behind at my journey from where I've started and from where I am at right now and where I have to go. So that feeling is good. I be happy about it, be grateful about it, and with this salary which we get, okay, there is a lot of hard work which I have put in to reach this point, because we know, like, let's say if an aspiring pilot is watching this podcast, okay, the salaries are good, the initial investment is high, the hard work which you have to put in is also high, So, the reason why we are discussing all of these things in this podcast is not to provoke someone to become a pilot. The reason why we are discussing is if you have decided to become a pilot, then these are all the things you have to make a note of and learn from whatever things we are telling in this podcast.
Absolutely.
And by no means pressurize any parent to sponsor your training. I'm sure they'll be doing their best to support you in whatever field you choose for yourself.
Absolutely. Having said that, this is something which we did to convince our parents, because we thought that this profession is appropriate and suitable for us. But you need to first decide which profession would you like to go for in consultation with your parents, and whatever you come to a conclusion, just stick to it and do the best in that profession.
Yes, and with that said, let's say the investment is done, you get an airline job, but there's always ifs and buts. What if the medical fails? Okay, then what do we do? So there are chances, okay? It's not that, okay, if someone is a pilot, he will be fit until the age of 65. There can be some incidences in life which can result to loss of medicals, right? So in that case, what are the options available for pilots?
In that case, there are the ground jobs which a pilot can do in that case, but of course not flying job. So if you have any other profession which you let's say that pilot is also an engineer, then they can pursue that. If in case that pilot is ready to take the ground duties, then he can do that, like ground instructor or maybe simulator instructor. Then those duties can be done.
And also for airline pilots, there is insurance for loss of license
Yes,
or loss of
yes.
medicals as well.
Absolutely.
So you get decent amount in that, in which you can start your business or you can invest in such a way that you get monthly amount and you can manage
Yes.
your life with that as well.
Yes, yes.
And there are a lot of other ifs and buts as well. So if you are choosing your career as a pilot, make sure you research about each and everything. If you have other questions, you can always reach out to us, and we'll be happy to answer all your questions, as we have already followed that part which you are planning to start.
Absolutely. So, if you look at the ratio of how much you need to invest and what are the returns on this career, then just do the math for finding this ratio. If you can highlight that, it will be great.
So initial investment you make into your pilot training is around 1.2 cr. I'm taking the most expensive program here. And then in a lifetime, a pilot makes around 28 to 30 cr if he flies as a captain on an aero body. If that person or if that pilot plans to go to a wide body as a captain, he may make even more than that. So you can do the math. Investment is 1.2 cr. At the end, once you retire, you are making around 30 cr. So I think it's a good investment, and plus you get to enjoy your life as well. Like you'll be traveling places,
Correct.
and flying is fun. You learn a lot of things every day. You get good respect. But
Correct,
to
correct,
earn
correct.
all of these things, okay, the training is very rigorous. You have to be very focused to get into the airline. And once you are into the airline, you have to be on your toes to keep that job.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You have to make sure that you are disciplined. You fly the airplane safely. You are, as an active crew member, you are serving that, particular profession as a pilot, following the SOP on every single flight
Yes.
without missing out a single one, and keep and continue to do it over and over again.
Yes, and this is only possible like following the SOPs, showing up on time, excited to learn about aviation, about the aircraft. So this is only possible if you are genuinely interested in aviation to become a pilot. And If you think that, okay, now you are someone who is genuinely interested in starting your aviation journey as a student pilot, you can sign up on a CNTA for your ground classes, courses.cntaonline.in, and start your journey with us, and we'll be guiding you on each and every step of your pilot journey.
So, if you are serious about this profession and you have decided to become a pilot, then you can start your pilot training journey with us at CNTAA, and we are here to guide you from the first step of doing your medical, getting your application of your computer number and your DGCA ground class, and then your further journey. We are here to guide you through. Thank you very much for watching this podcast. Thank you so much. We would look forward to have you on board with us.
Thank you for watching this podcast. And if you have any questions, you can leave them down in the comment section. And every month we have decided that we will be making a podcast on the questions which are there in the comment section. So make sure you leave a comment if you have any question. And thank you for watching. We'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.